We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get 50 after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage, and enjoy the show. What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. This is normally the portion of the show where I would say the day and the date, but this is the dead space between Christmas and New Year's, so I'm not totally sure what the scoop is on that, but I am totally sure that we'll be breaking down SmackDown today, watching Wrestle Dream later, and it is a perfect day to be a wrestling fan. There's no debate about that. We are going to break down last night's SmackDown for the next foreseeable future here. We're going to see how it goes. It's going to be awesome, and I have a wicked crew hanging out with me on this Saturday. Whoops, I ruined the bit. Let me keep this one on the West Coast out of the gates. I forgot I get to do that. It doesn't happen often. I'm going to keep it on the West Coast. We may be breaking down SmackDown, but it is still All Elite. Mary, how are you?
I was gonna say Clark forgot his pay-per-views and his intro. What a wonderful Saturday. I'm so excited to review this episode, but I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. As am I. But before we do, we can't without a guy that I've been hanging out with. I feel like I just got done chatting with him yesterday. Like I've never even left this little booth that I'm in. But let me send this one to Philadelphia to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Anthony Ricciardi. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. Yeah, we did the show yesterday. A little course correction for Clark. Tonight is not Wrestle Dream, it's World's End.
I know, I said it.
Just to fill that in. And today is the 27th. Also, Clark didn't know that either. So we're just going to get right into this SmackDown. And let's have some fun.
If it was Wrestle Dream, though, that would have been a more electric intro. As soon as I said Wrestle Dream, I'm like, I can see the date in the corner of my computer. So that was a gag. That's the worst part. I gave myself that one, right? Yeah. Then I said the wrong pay-per-view name, and I'm like, too late. It's too late.
I mean, listen, if it was Wrestle Dream and Kobe had access to it, he would spoil it like he always does because he has a Netflix feed and we're pity us on the USA Network. Yes, Kobe, we were annoyed by that last night.
Maybe it was Wrestle Dream. Or maybe it is Wrestle Dream. Let's get into the comments though. Here it is, National Fruitcake Day. I don't know who celebrates, but congratulations if you do.
I do have a belief on fruitcakes. I believe it's the same 5 fruitcakes they've been passing around for generation after generation. I've never met anybody that actually eats those things.
It's like sourdough. It's a living thing.
Yes,
it exists.
Good afternoon, WR crew, from friend of the show, Fernando Zayas, and congratulations to Carmelo Hayes finally winning gold on the main roster in WWE. Let's not forget he held some NXT titles, but I hear you.
He was him.
Also got Adrian Padilla in the comments with good afternoon, everyone. Here's to a bloody good new year. No doubt about it. And let's go All Elite, Mary. No doubt. I'm with you. So Carmelo Hayes, though, is our United States champion now. And I really dig this, but I want to get something off my chest before we get into this segment really quick when it comes to this. If this is the end of the open challenge stuff that we've seen that's been built since Sami Zayn wrestled John Cena, and if Carmelo Hayes isn't now in this position going to do the exact same thing we saw Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov do and defend this in an open challenge format, I will be furious. Do not be like, okay, now that Melo won it. Nah. No. I want next Friday, if there is not an open challenge match, it better be because Carmelo Hayes accidentally tweaked his ankle celebrating the championship victory. That is the only excuse. If Carmelo Hayes does not have a challenger next week, I will be beside myself. Absolutely furious. I really enjoyed the match, and I don't know anybody on the main roster that I can think of that deserved this more than Carmelo Hayes. And I think it's really cool he did it alongside Dragunov. Obviously, that's who we picked up the victory over.
but this is an important moment because we've talked about Melo all year and how big his call up was. And I cover on Tuesday nights NXT every week, and we talk about Trick Williams and Obafemi and all these names. And of course, we've had the washing machine worth of names that we speak upon when it comes to who's the future, and everyone's retiring and the new generation, and you get your Obafemis and your Braun Breakers and your this, that, and the other. We forget about Carmelo Hayes too often, and last night was his time. I absolutely adored it, and I'm so glad they got it done before the new year. I just wanted to say that. I'm going to go to you out of the gates here, though, Anthony. What were your thoughts? How did you feel about the match? And how do you feel about the potential reign here for good old Melo? Because he doesn't miss.
Yeah, I think he was missing for a while. But I think Dragunov has kind of set that bar where it should be for the U.S. title, much like Gunther did for the IC title. I feel like I agree with you, Clark, the open challenge. It's kind of the lineage of Cena. Like, even though he's gone to carry it along with it, and I like the fact that the U.S. title is like the one that has it. I think you keep it as long as a babyface is holding it, because I think if you have a heel champion, it's not believable that they would be like, yeah, I'll take on anybody and risk it. Now, if it's somebody like an Obafemi as a heel, that works because he's dominant. It's a monster. Like, it sort of works for that. But hopefully this is what Melo needed. You know, Melo had a lot of false starts. You know, he had the best of 7 with Andrade. If I'm remembering correctly, it was Andrade was the 7. And I think he kind of needs that. Like, I felt like in a lot of ways he lost a lot of mojo after he lost the NXT championship. And I know he had the feud with Trick, but like there was something missing there. And I felt like he was missing it for a while on the main roster. But it looks like he's sort of getting into the swing of things. I think a dominant U.S. title reign, the open challenge, I think you can kind of run with that. I liked Gargano jumping him and that side of Gargano. Like, you know, if you get enough challengers for the U.S. title so that title means something, it helps everybody involved. It helps the lineage of the title, the significance of it, and it should help the talent involved in this feud. So, you know, Ciampa wants it. You know, Gargano wants it. Melo obviously has it. Dragunov's going to want it back, presumably. And there's a lot of other people back there that would want it too. So I'm glad that title is finally getting more an emphasis, if that makes sense. And when SmackDown going to 3 hours, you should have the time to kind of tell those stories.
I love how you said that too, because it is really interesting. We've talked about what's been the biggest subject all year, John Cena's retirement tour.
Mm-hmm.
And all the negatives, heel turn, they whiffed this, they didn't do this right.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been that, and it shouldn't have been that. One thing they definitely got right is they put the John Cena stamp on the U.S. title in that match with Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And the way you broke that down was perfect. I am in total agreement. I think it's one of the best things. The only thing when it comes to this situation, because we're on the same page when it comes to the heel aspect of who's carrying it.
It's not believable.
The only route you could go, and this is what frustrated me in the first place, because I'm afraid Carmelo Hayes might be the guy you would do this with, is if all of a sudden non-relevant challengers start answering the open challenge and you can't figure out why.
Yeah.
Until the light bulb hits and you realize it's because Melo's scheduling his own cupcakes. Like,
you know what? That could totally work, because, you know, Rocky reference, that was the knock on Apollo in the first Rocky movie, is the fact that he was getting jobber challengers. Like, right. And he wanted, you know, that was the whole, or in Rocky 3, like Mickey's like, these are jobbers you're facing. Like, you're not facing like legitimate contenders. If Melo was a heel, I could totally see him do it. But
he's not. So
but I'm saying, but as a heel, that is an actual great one. If you have a heel champion as US going, if I'm required to continue to do the open challenge, well, then I could pick anybody. I could pick a James Ellsworth. I could pick a Hornswoggle. I could pick, like, you know, people that don't legitimately have a chance.
You bring out
and that's actually smart. I like that.
Bring up the entire carnival parade.
Yes.
Is the only route where I do think that works. But thankfully, I don't think that that's the route you're going to go with Melo out of, like right this second.
That's a good one to do on the road, though.
Oh, for sure. Keep that one in the pocket, I think. Definitely right. Mary, though, I want to get your thoughts on this one as well, just really quickly here, because I mean, Carmelo Hayes has come such a long ways, but we also know that he was sort of the chosen one by Shawn Michaels on NXT. And we know that bell to bell, this guy athletically is off the charts. Put on a heck of a match last night to win this title. It was his crowning moment. What do you think the future looks like as U.S. champion for Carmelo Hayes?
I hope the future, it was so like bittersweet to kind of have that round 3 kind of fight feel with him and Ilya. It was match of the night, but I think with Melo going forward, if he's going to really fulfill that babyface role to continue the open challenge, I need his final boss to be the man that Anthony brought up, Mr. Trick Williams. I see a heel Trick Williams coming in hot. He came in hot with Cody, giving that, all about me attitude. And I feel like when he finally runs into Carmelo as champion, if Trick can't go after Cody right off the bat, I feel like eventually at the end of the day, we're going to see Melo versus Trick one more time. But I don't know when. I'm hoping it will be a continuous build with particular different challengers along the way till he reaches Trick Williams at the end. But overall, I'm very happy that Melo finally has some main roster gold. I've been a Melo don't miss kind of guy. I'm excited for him.
Mary, sincerely, I didn't even consider this is such a logical route to get Trick to the main roster. And you think about Mania season and call-ups and whatnot. That was talk about a light. As soon as you said it, I was like, shoot. So the open challenge is going to continue, and eventually that's going to be answered by whoop that Trick. Like that adds up. That the maths in this scenario, to say the very least. I love this from TCX Warlord. Watch his opponent be Kit Wilson first. I think that's a dream
everywhere.
I think that's a dream. That's a dream match for Ben Allison.
Yeah, that's a certain type of dream.
He's got an opportunity.
Oh, and then we've got David Sheldon here with Melo and Ilya. Was an excellent match. Ilya just has the true intangible charisma. Him and Gunther 1 and 2 in the Rumble, with Ilya having the Iron Man performance, please. And then long Melo reign he added. I actually, all of that I have no issue with. And I love the idea of, I think, 2 Iron Man performance in the Rumble wise, and not to get way ahead of ourselves here, but I would love it if actually the number 1 entrant is Gunther, and then it's Ilya's music that hits and not the other way around.
I would like to see, because they are 2 workhorse people, I would love if they started 1 and 2 and they're the last 2 in the ring, because they're they are probably 2 of the best conditioned to make that work, to go the distance.
Adore that booking.
Yeah,
I would absolutely adore that booking. I love this from good friend Louise. Monster shout out, Jimmy Neutron, Brain Blast. Now we're talking. I dig it. But let's move on. We got a few more things to break down today, including Joe Hendry versus The Miz. Joe Hendry makes his SmackDown debut. This guy's been all over our TV screens, though, for quite some time now. It didn't quite feel like a debut other than it being mentioned. I will say, though, I enjoyed the shenanigans. And don't get me wrong. I understand there was a lot of stuff going on there. I will say this. Obviously, Ben, thank you so much for the graphics, but it's time to take the Christmas tree down. It's been a few days. It's a fire hazard, and we've still got the Christmas theme stuff and the lights up and everything. And that felt a little bit like Joe Hendry versus The Miz last night. Anthony, I want to get your thoughts on this whole encounter. And Joe Hendry, SmackDown, the 3rd hour, there's a lot to unpack here.
Honestly, if you didn't know somebody from the Attitude Era was booking SmackDown, you knew last night. That segment, wasn't Russo, but you think it might have been. When you have the Easter Bunny in there, it's truth, so it fits because truth can kind of get away with anything. But it was a train wreck. but it's what you expect from one of those type of matches. Joe Hendry, he's charismatic. I do like his concerts when he does them, like when he especially gets into stuff, or I did when he did the stuff with TNA. But realistically, he doesn't blow me away in the ring. I think he has a horrible finisher. He shouldn't be doing a choke slam. He's not the size to be doing a choke slam. But he's a fun character. The same way Truth is a fun character, same way Mr. Iguana and Danhausen. They're fun characters. But I don't view Joe Hendry in the same. I thought it was awesome seeing him at WrestleMania, coming out with the TNA World Title at Mania. That was one of the coolest highlights from that show. But like realistically, I don't know what much you do with him. Like you could put him in a U.S. title type situation somewhere down the road. He's not getting anywhere near the world title, I don't believe. Maybe a tag team with somebody like Truth or something. But like realistically, I don't know what you do with him long term. And I like Joe Hendry, but like realistically, place wise, I don't expect him to get very far in WWE as a whole. It's too many sharks.
We're on the same page here, and I think it's really interesting to me because I actually think had we pulled the trigger at Joe Hendry's peak, this would feel more important. There's part of me that feels that way because, I mean, talk about his NXT debut was the highest viewed video in WWE history on social media. Like, you don't just pull that out of nowhere. I love what you mentioned when it comes to the finisher because I have a huge problem with it.
Yes.
And my biggest problem is you mentioned the Attitude Era already.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me good. I thought it was muted. I apologize for just like giggling
I'm
like a
completely
child
fine with that.
as you said it. But
get used to the throwback, Clark.
All you can think is the Hurricane. It's like it
worked
with
the Hurricane, yeah.
And it worked with the Hurricane, but they're making fun of it. It's a joke.
Well, yes.
And so where my brain goes immediately every time I see it is like Gregory Helms.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? I think that could be helped. You never know what someone's capable of in the ring until they're put like back against the wall in a situation.
Yeah.
He could absolutely be better than expected. He could be all of the above. There is star power. There is the charisma. But to your point, I think the most dangerous thing when it comes to Joe Hendry is him getting absolutely pocketed and getting put in a spot where he is just comedic relief.
Yeah.
And that is going to lower the ceiling for him because I still think his ceiling's high. He's not that old. And that's what I wanted to ask Barry about though, Ant.
It's
really quick.
It's not age. It's age isn't the issue with him. I just think talent wise, he's entertaining, but in the ring, there are a lot of people in WWE and NXT that are significantly better than him. And when you're a big fish in a small pond with TNA.
Right.
But it's completely different when you're swimming with sharks in WWE. I hope he does phenomenally well, but like if I'm being realistic, I don't see him as world champion unless it's a transitional thing and something like that.
And that's sort of what I wanted to ask Mary about on this one. Given the match with The Miz and everything and Joe Hendry's rise to stardom here, what do you think the formula looks like to best sort of position him heading into next year? Now that he's very clearly a main roster talent, because that was made obvious to us last night.
No doubt about it. He is definitely main roster bound. Now, if it's just SmackDown, that worries me. Monday Night Raw, it's like what Anthony was saying. He's an overall character. He's someone that we can just watch and laugh and have a good time with. But for some reason, something's missing when he gets in the actual ring and actually performs. The choke slam is atrocious. You are not that tall. You are not that stature to be doing a move like that. It's not connecting with me. And I think we can all agree, maybe I say we in a little bit of a more nicer standpoint, because I do love Joe Hendry. When he debuted, I lost my mind. I lost my mind in NXT. I was like, ain't no way. The Performance Center or wherever they were in Florida at the time, that roof exploded. It exploded. It
did.
Everybody, if it wasn't Whoop That Trick, it was I Believe in Joe Hendry. But is that gonna work on the main roster? I'm worried.
I feel like you broke that down perfectly, Mary, because I feel like we're going to run out of time. That's what I'm scared of, right? And he's going to become something that's sort of an afterthought.
Mhm.
Now, don't get me wrong. Let's not lie to ourselves. That's happened with R-Truth over the years. Over and over. This is at the latter stages of his career, though.
Yes.
This guy had a career as a competitor, as all of the above before he became that. What I'm really worried about is like, it's just like Hollywood, you know, he gets typecast and he gets stuck.
He becomes the backstage segment guy.
Yeah.
He becomes the Tozawa. He becomes that. The other scary part is if they do, which I do think they're going to, when they bring in Danhausen, character-wise,
same deal. Almost.
That may blow Joe Hendry out of the way.
And
like,
more extreme version, no
realistically.
less.
Yes.
Right? Like the Danhausen character is so unique with the makeup and with the acknowledgement of the fact that he is a comedy character, right?
100%.
Joe Hendry, I don't think has ever claimed to be outside of the ring a comedy character.
Correct.
He's a wrestler, right?
Yes.
Danhausen is monster shout out, by the way. You and I have been fans of Danhausen for years, but like
very nice,
maybe arguably the most self-aware professional wrestler there is. And when you hear him talk outside of kayfabe, we don't do that. Address that stuff often on the show. Don't get me wrong. I think Joe is awesome every time you hear him talk and whatnot. But it just, we've got some comments. This cracked me up. He becomes Rob Schneider. You can do it.
Honestly, if Danhausen was coming in with anybody, I could see him with his buddy, as he refers to him as Pepsi Phil. I could see him with Punk, like Danhausen in one corner with Punk, while he's taking on like Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman. Heyman and Danhausen at ringside, just take my money. I want to see that.
Yeah, I would. I mean, any interaction backstage with Danhausen, I think, is pretty electric. There's no debate about that one in my eye. Danhausen, I just adore. I like the fact that he exists like only in pro wrestling is just it's just as good as it gets.
Can you picture Heyman selling a curse from Danhausen? It'd be gold.
If he cursed him and Heyman fell down, I would take.
Oh, he'd fake a heart attack.
Take my money.
Yes.
I'm not a big cliche guy, but come on. All right, let's talk about the Queen, Charlotte Flair, taking on Lash Legend. Lash Legend's main roster run thus far has been awesome. I dig it. I dig everything about it. I might have flipped the result last night. If it was me booking the match with the pencil, I might have given Lash this gigantic moment defeating Charlotte Flair. That's not what happened. They put on a great match. But Lash Legend can hang. And I'm not saying like I've always been high on Lash Legend talent wise, especially covering NXT. What I did not expect, I think she's got Damian Priest capabilities in her, where her success on the main roster will absolutely dwarf her success in NXT. That is my prediction for Lash Legend. I enjoyed the match last night. The Queen picks up the victory. Got a lot of stuff going on, but I want your thoughts on this, Mary. Obviously, just a really, really good back and forth contest at some point. Charlotte gets the win. She is the veteran, but Lash Legend, I am getting higher on every single Friday night. I feel like she's been called up.
100%. Lash Legend is selling me more and more each week. I was on the same boat as you, Clark. I did want her to pull up that upset and actually beat the Queen. I thought that would have been a great, brilliant move since her and Nia beat the champs already. I think that would have like solidified Lash as the brute, as the irresistible force. Now with that stir up some tension with Nia, maybe not right now, but let them have the belts. I feel next. I'm ready for Lash and Nia to be the next champs. I think they both together are starting to grow on me. I feel like Nia's letting Lash actually have the partnership that she should have had with a certain somebody, but we don't necessarily talk about Miss Mara Sade. I don't know if I'm saying her name. Yeah. But overall, Lash Legend looked incredible last night. She was beating the brakes off of Flair, someone that could take a punch and make it look good. And I hope this really keeps their momentum going till when they actually get the belts. And I'm in for Miss Lash.
I am too. I was so impressed too. And I feel like people forget she's a former professional athlete in other, right?
Mhm.
She's a basketball player and a darn good one too. And when it comes to physical talent, she's hard to beat. And the discipline of being that good as a professional athlete, I think the future is as bright as could be for Lash. I'm with you. Obviously, formerly known as Jakara Jackson. I love that tag team as well. But Lash and Nia, do we call him Nash? Do we just call him Nash? Nia and Lash? As potential tag team champions, I love that idea, Mary. Like all of it. There's no Diesel, there's no Razor in that one. They do have a little bit of outsiders when it comes to this, I think, in their blood. What do you think about that, Anthony? You like the outsiders comparison?
Interesting comparison. No, but I think there's a lot there in Lash. I think I find it interesting that they're actually doing a tag team feud that technically isn't for the belts, which is something people have been calling for to give emphasis to this tag division. I at first thought I agreed with you, Clark, last night going Lash should have won. Yeah. But the more I think about it, it was a taped SmackDown.
True.
So the spoiler was out there. If she does it, I think you kind of want the live audience because less people are probably watching last night because it was taped. And
I watched that at a bowling alley.
If she wins overall, like if they win the feud and Lash is the one that picks up the win over Charlotte, it carries more weight than her winning this one. You know what I mean?
That I like too. If we're gonna have the rematch, Mary, do you think the rematch looks more like Lash picks up the victory and that and goes over? Because I think we're all three. We're cooking. We're cooking.
Yeah, I'd say for sure. If Lash didn't get it now, she will definitely get it soon, and I'm ready for that.
100%. Yeah, I mean, look, the tag division. It's interesting because it was such a topic for fodder on this show.
Yeah,
for so long. Like, we haven't taken the time to say they've actually done a pretty darn good job. You know what I mean? All this time we spent discussing the tag division and the new belts on both programs, by the way.
Yes.
AEW and WWE. Both have been executed, I think, better than anyone expected.
Here's always the problem with this. Whether you, and I've said this a million times, there's so much talent and so many belts, but the amount of time on the program generally doesn't increase. Now, SmackDown obviously is going to 3 hours. Don't know how long that's going to last. But like realistically, there's only so much you could fit into one show. Like people want to go, well, they should be doing this. Okay, well, where are you deducting it from? That's always my thing because they're always like, well, this person should be pushed or that title should be focused on. Okay, what are you taking away from? And nobody ever has an answer for that. It's always, but this one, that's not the booker. But you're telling them that's what they should be doing.
I'm 100% on the same page. Now, I do really want to introduce this main event segment because it tickles me, but I have to come clean, guys. I'm really, really sad that somebody is missing from this equation because if you're a friend of the program, you know that our friend of the program, New Run Superfly, the 3-year anniversary was 3 days ago, has been begging for 3 stages of hell for 3 consecutive years. Numero 1, we got it. We did it. We finally did it. We did it. He's back. He is here. He's in the building.
I'm saying he's gotta be
right on cue. The one time that I always wanted 3 stages of hell to happen. Finally got it. Thank you, Triple H, for reading my fan mail. I hope he gives us a submission match, a steel cage match, and then a TLC match. That is awesome. TLC. I like that. And that's my favorite part about this. The segment, first off, ref bullying tickled me. Absolutely adored that. Nothing funnier than bullying a referee. The daddy lines, I think Drew McIntyre said, I did not have over 1.5 daddies from Drew McIntyre before the promo. when it came to my bingo card last night. I'm not gonna lie, I've been a little bit wishy-washy about Drew lately. He locked in. This was his best promo of the year. He really did. He locked in. We do not know what the 3 stages will be. I find it fascinating that we tease Nick Aldis holding Cody Rhodes back so often. Like, wait, why is hang on, that doesn't happen with Adam Pearce. He's not grabbing people and being like, don't get physical. But Nick Aldis does on Friday nights. Nick Aldis does that often. I can't wait for this match. Mary, I want to ask you first. Let's break down last night's segment, all 3 of us. And then we're going to go one by one and give our predictions for what the stipulations are for each of the 3 stages. But first and foremost, what were your thoughts on whether it was Drew and the referee, Drew and Cody, and then Nick Aldis' involvement, all of it, how we got to where we are right now?
If there is someone that I can just sit here and say nothing but good things about, it is Drew McIntyre. He's had such an interesting run in WWE, whether it was back then till NXT till now. He's been everywhere, and I feel Nick Clark, you hit the nail on the head. It was promo of the year. He locked in and he realized this is do or die for me. If I don't pull off the upset, I might just not ever come back after that. And with that being said, him bullying the referee, I loved it. Teasing Nick Aldis with the handsiness, the grabby grab, I loved it. It was so, that heel dominance is what Cody needs in this feud with his run, since we want Cody to be the one that turns heel so bad. It's like Drew said, hold my beer.
Literally, that's what it felt like to me too, Mary. You couldn't have quantified that better, because I mean, the most icy cold promo line I think I've heard from Drew McIntyre in forever is when he squatted down and said, I'll get down to your level, to drop just the meanest thing that he was going to say right and then of course the music hits and we're in a better position after that. But the let me say this on your level, and he squats down to make eye contact with him. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That is ice cold. That is not nice. I just got to ask you about it, Anthony. I mean, I thought this was a heck of a promo from Drew, and I'm not going to lie. The build with Drew and Cody could put on a great match against each other, or a rivalry against each other with their hands tied behind their back in their sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
This felt like, oh, wait, the floodgates opened. They're going to do something special here. And it sort of felt like you got to stop and watch and think. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of the highlight of the show last night. And I hate to admit that, because Melo winning the United States title was amazing. Mm-hmm. But I did truly believe that it was not because of Cody. No. The joke's aside. No, because I think Melo deserved his moment on as the United States champion. But I did believe actually that this segment was the highlight of the show. Are you in agreement on that?
I mean, it really should be, because it is technically for the most prestigious prize in the company, and arguably probably in the business for lineage wise. This is one of those things that I've loved the Drew heel run, because it's not like a normal heel run. It's a heel run that started as relatable, that he kept getting robbed out of the championship by the bloodline. And like, he had issues with people that suddenly befriended members of the bloodline to fight the other bloodline. Like, it was just like, in a weird way, he's somewhat relatable with this. I know there have been complaints about the Drew Cody feud dragging out. I don't have an issue with that. That's how you build feuds. And these are two guys that are very parallel paths. Drew came in, he was the chosen one. Vince made him the chosen one. He was supposed to be the prodigal one. Didn't pan out. Cody came in with a huge chip on his shoulder of the success of his father and his brother, but they didn't view him the same way. Now, Drew got shown the door. Cody kicked the door open and left. They both found themselves. And then WWE went back and went, we need you. And they came back. So it's kind of like they truly, it works. The 3 stages of hell in general, I like that they don't, there's a word I could use for this, but I know I probably can't use it on here other than the table, but it's not watered down. They're not overly doing it. Yeah. That was the problem I had when they had the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. The pay-per-view should not dictate when you're doing a Hell in a Cell. It should be the feud. It's why the Punk Drew Hell in a Cell worked, because the feud made sense to do it. This is a feud that makes sense to do it. I am a little surprised they're doing it on a SmackDown, especially an international one. So it will not be airing live in the States, which I think is a weird choice. That's my only concern with that, because spoilers are going to be out for it. Also on network TV or even Netflix, because I don't know, there'll be commercial breaks. I don't like that. It's the same thing I complain about AEW when they do Blood and Guts. If you're doing a monster match like that, it's got to be commercial free. So if you're not doing it on pay-per-view, then you got to make some deal that it's commercial free.
You can't go to break between falls.
Correct.
That is one of the best shouts. I didn't even consider that. That is frustrating, Ant, to say the very least.
It's more so when Blood and Guts
break between falls.
That's at least a little less offensive than the Blood and Guts, because the match keeps going and it's not, and you come back and they're like, oh, so Moxley's busted open. Well, how? It
just happened.
You know what I mean? So
let's make our predictions though on what the 3 stages will be. I will go first. Then I'm going to toss it to you, Mary. Then I'm going to go into you, Ant. But let's make our prediction. And you know what? While we're up, let's do our early prediction on the winner of the match as well. I'll get us started out of the gates. I think the greatest 3 stages match of all time is from No Way Out, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, and I would run as close to the same formula as you can. Mm-hmm. I like a normal match out of the gates, just a standard singles match. Well, then it's a street fight. Second fall, anything goes. Weapons everywhere. Maybe even falls count anywhere this time. Slightly tweak it from that match I previously mentioned. And last but certainly not least, drop a dang cage. Trap them in there together with all the weapons. Drop a cage. Do it. I'm not saying Hell in a Cell. That doesn't make sense for 3 stages of hell in my eyes. If you're going to do that, just have a Hell in a Cell match. But drop a cage. You can have all the weapons from the street fight in the ring. And drop a cage for the final fall. And in my eyes, the winner of this match is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He retains the title, but it ought to look like an absolute war. Okay, with that, we've got a couple more predictions. Mary, what do you have?
Okay, I'm right there with you. Let's do the classic one-on-one. Let's do Extreme Rules match. Anything goes. And that'll lead to a last man standing match. So where they will absolutely go to the most extreme measures to where Cody Rhodes will be the last man standing and finish the feud.
Okay, seriously, I hadn't even considered that because it hasn't been done. That is kind of brilliant. You have them pin each other, and then it's like, now you got to lay them down for 10 seconds, not 3. Go, right? Now, that puts the definitive stamp on who the victor is. I wouldn't even hate, by the way, for the 3rd stipulation, now that I'm spitballing in my brain, I quit. Right? I love the idea, though, of last man standing. I think that's pretty fascinating. That I had not thought about, let's up what it takes to really end it if you finger quotes get to the third fall. We're getting to the third fall. Let's not lie to ourselves.
Of course.
Right. But that is brilliant, Mary. And I love the prediction. Ant, you better come with something good. Those two are hard to follow, my friend.
I gotta be honest. I was leaning the same way before you. So now I have to change this up now, don't I?
No, you can do whatever you think.
No. Logistically, the other issue is because they're international. So I think they could do the cage. I honestly think they could do that as the third fall if you wanted. I would go regular. Because Dusty was invoked, part of me wonders whether or not one of those falls is going to be a bull rope match. In tribute to Dusty, because I have a weird feeling that they may go that route only because Dusty was referenced. But the third fall, here's the thing: if this is the end of it, because I don't want a situation where they do 3 stages of hell and the third one is last man standing, and it's a draw, which is dragging you out to the Rumble. I'm hoping that's not the direction they go. I think you need a definitive ending if this is the end. Presumably this is. I'd be cool with an I quit at the end, to be perfectly honest. I think that it's got to be brutal. This match has to be brutal. If we're getting blood, you got to do cage match. Cage has to be in there. But if I'm just picking, I go regular street fight and not street fight. No holds barred. Let's do something different. It's supposed to be more chaotic. And then cage.
I can't lie to you, Anthony. Obviously, you, me, and Mary can see each other when we're off camera.
Yeah.
While you're talking and whatnot, but the audience can't. I just have to quantify just how terrified me and Mary were when you presented the idea of them both not getting up from a 10 count in a last man standing finish. The looks on our faces, I was actually giggling. Mary was like, "Oh shoot, don't do that, please, I'm begging you."
I mean, that would be my only concern with that. If they were dragging this to the Rumble, I don't necessarily think they're going to, but at the same point, I didn't think this feud was going to end on a SmackDown either. So
it's terrifying in hindsight. It's like we might have actually called what they're gonna do on accident between the three.
At this point, Road Dogg's like,
why I said
at this point, Road Dogg's going,
should we accidentally spoil it on a prediction show? This tickled me too from DCX Warlord, normal, unsanctioned, and Fight Pit. Fight Pit, I wouldn't hate. I don't know about Drew and Cody on the platform with Fight Pit.
I mean, it worked on other ones when the characters fit it. The Fight Pit really doesn't fit either Cody or Drew.
Yeah.
But unsanctioned, I've always enjoyed because that is supposed to be the step above everything else. You can't
have that as the middle match, right?
No, it has to be the
because the other thing is unsanctioned goes back to like state athletic commissions.
Yes.
And so I just do think that's different. Oh, we got great friend of the show. Fight Pit would not work with them. I don't know. Hey guys, monster shout out Josh. This made me laugh hard as anything. DCX Warlord with pen spelled 3 wrong. No, it's a Thray stages of hell match, dude. What do you mean? We just renamed it. This one's a Thray stage.
It's a Christian.
All graphics look really good. I will say that though. Monster shout out Ben. He hopefully had a great holiday and happy New Year to everybody. That is going to bring us to the end of the show though, my friends. We could talk about this the rest of the afternoon. Please, we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Of course, that's noon Pacific, 3:00 over on the East Coast, 8:00 in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my great friends in Hawaii. And last but certainly not least, enjoy. What was it again that I called it earlier? Wrestle Dream?
Yes, you have Wrestle Dream.
Enjoy AEW tonight. Enjoy everybody. Thank you so much. We really appreciate y'all and absolutely have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Whatever.